Hello, Owen.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Owen
I'm,
Beiny, the points partner. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? I mean, I say I'm
Um,
doing great. If we exclude the pandemic, if we exclude the rioting, if we exclude all the other dramas around the world, I'm doing great. How are you?
yeah, yeah. No, there's a lot going on right now. We were just literally talking about the riots, and we've been doing a lot of the chats with people in San Diego because I've done it mainly San Diego based, but we'll talk about what you do in a second. Basically, say that it doesn't matter where you are, you can benefit from your business. But you're up in LA, and we were literally just before we went live. You were mentioning how LA is pretty much a mess right now.
It's horrific, quite frankly. This town has been absolutely battered the last 3 or 4 days. And it started off, in one or two hotspots, and it was live on the news, and like, oh, my favorite restaurant's been smashed up. Not the end of the world. And then it's got to the point now where I left the house yesterday morning. I took my daughter around to her mother's house, and I drive past probably 250 retail outlets from this house to that house, and not a single one of them was open completely. And the vast majority of them were either looted or had their front smashed in or were boarding up in preparation for them being looted.
Yeah.
It's like a war zone,
So
literally.
businesses have had to close for a ridiculous amount of time
Yeah.
because of Corona, COVID, whatever it is you want to call it. And then just as everything opens up again, they've got to all close. Now, I fully behind, protesting, and I believe in the cause of what's happening at the moment. But if we just look at it purely from a business standpoint, forget what your beliefs are in regards to everything. From a business standpoint and the economy right now, this is not going to help.
Far from
Really
it.
is not going to help.
Far from it. We're looking at the worst it's ever been, quite frankly. The Great Depression, statistically, came and went quicker than this is coming and going. You can sit around and cry about it, and that's what everyone's done. They did that for the first month of Corona.
While watching Tiger King. Yeah.
While watching Tiger King, is very important. And by the way, I'm no different. And we'll talk a little bit in a minute about my business. And we all just froze in panic and watched TV and washed our hands a lot, which was the right thing to do at that time. Now it's no longer, watching TV. It's this week's big fun. We're now talking about this is our new life, and we better get on with it because we're all going broke, right? And what I help people do is understand their business from a different perspective. People are creatures of nature. You get up every day, you brush your teeth at the same time, you eat the same thing for breakfast, you go to the same places and do the same things because that feels cozy and comfortable. And we've all been put in this uncomfortable place where we have to retrain ourselves about what our day looks like and how we can get through it and how we can be productive from an economic standpoint. It's a horrific thing that's happened, but at the same time, a lot of great is going to come from this. I get all day long clients that phone me and say, I never want to go back to how it was, because this gave me an opportunity. It gave me that breathing space to actually look at my business and say, what is the process that we're going through? What isn't working because of Corona, because of COVID-19, because of the riots, or whatever obstacle is being thrown at you? You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to come out fighting. Otherwise, you're going to be homeless. So everyone has to find that way. And what I do is I help people find the most efficient ways to run their business. Most people think that if they run a profitable business, that there's nothing that needs changing. That doesn't mean that it was efficient to begin with. It just means it's profitable. I was in a business last week where this young lady runs a small one-man band, essentially, selling one product. And she makes money. And a friend of hers recommended me. And I came in and looked at her process. And I realized that each one of her clients, she was spending a total amount of time of 8 hours on average, from start to finish, from introduction to that new client to taking their money and sending the product. 8 hours. And by doing 2 days work, we managed to get that down to 26 seconds. That's all it actually needed, was 26 seconds of her time. So when you look at that and you scale that, and she has 700 clients a year, she's gone from being slammed 7 days a week to, quite frankly, she has to work Monday morning. And the rest of the time she can listen to you and I live on YouTube. So being efficient is tied to profitability, but it's not exclusive.
Yeah. And your business before, it was literally built around really travel. You know, the Points Partner, we'll plug your website and things, but your business before was about helping people use credit cards quite often, or the points that they use with their airline, whichever way, you know, the way they can create points and how best to spend them.
Yeah.
So what's happened with that business? Because right now people aren't flying on planes.
You know this, huh? Okay. So I'll tell you for your viewers what my business was, and then now what changes I've made and what it has become during COVID times. Originally, I am the Points Partner, and the idea behind my business is that I help people maximize their credit card benefits. And those benefits do range all the way from cashback, free products, free trips, to points, air miles. There's a million different benefits of credit cards that most people don't realize that are available to them, even for the credit cards that they've already got. It's not always about signing up for new credit cards. Most people have a credit card and they don't know how to use it. They just think they spend and then that's it. I have done years of research. If you look at all this gray hair, that's reading the small print. You know when you get a credit card or a debit card and they send you that big pack of stuff and then you pull off the card, you sign the back and you put it in your wallet and you throw out the rest? I sit there and read every single word of that legally binding document that you've signed to understand what you can get out of it. And there's tons. By trade, before this, I was an efficiency expert. And I found the most efficient place to be efficient is credit cards, because most people aren't doing anything. And there is tons there. You can fly around the world for free in first class whenever you want. You can get money back on your shopping. You can get cash back here. You can get points there, air miles here. It's all available to you, but you just don't bother reading it because you're busy doing something else. So I created this business called the Points Partner, where I do, my process is you send me your credit card statements from the previous month, and I sit here and do the boring part, which is the math and working out percentages and numbers and what you're spending it on and what categories, and blah, 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 which it's not sexy. So I do that part without you. And then I come and sit with you for a couple of hours. And what I used to do, and this is where it's changed now, is I used to do 3 sections. I would do the first hour is points coming in. And we talk all about your credit cards, where you're spending your money, how you can maximize the amount of points that you're getting. So that's your points coming in. And then the second section I would do would be points going out. Once we've got all these yummy points, how do we spend them without wasting them all in one shot? And how do we get to fly for free, on what airline, at what time? When do you move the points? How do you do it? I explain the whole process. And then at the end, I used to do like a 5-10 minute little exercise, which I call home efficiency and optimization. So generally, people that are not good with numbers or credit cards or that part of their life are also not very good at the other number parts of their life. So from looking over their credit card statements, it's efficient, once I'm reading it all, to use that information not once, but use it twice. So I start telling them about where to go shopping, how to spend their money, when to use discount codes, when to be a part of a loyalty scheme, when not to, and explaining to people, most people, the average home in America, and this is a really, really scary stat, 86% of what they spend on a weekly basis is just not needed. You just don't need to. It just means you don't know how to go shopping appropriately. You don't know where's the cheapest place to buy the thing that you need at the right time. And I explain bulk buying, when to bulk buy, when not to bulk buy, what's a good deal, how to go shopping. You know, everyone thinks that they know how to go to Trader Joe's or Ralph's or Whole Foods and get a good deal. Quite frankly, statistically, you don't. And I explain to people how to do that, even how to write a shopping list. Most people don't even write a shopping list. I have a whole structure, a whole section that I do just on telling people how to look in your fridge and what information to take from that to know what to go shopping for. And that used to be like a little thing that I did at the end for like 5-10 minutes. And originally, when I first started the business, the aim and objective was for the average client that I see, I like them to get between $5,000 and $30,000 worth of benefit from my 2-hour session over the course of that year. So they just see me once and I tell them everything they need to know. They go do it. I give them a bunch of homework, and they were averaging between $5,000 to $30,000 of benefit from that session. Then COVID hit, everything just collapsed. I used to go around to people's houses. They used to come around to mine. And I, quite frankly, I took a month off and watched CNN and Fox News like everyone else. I grew a beard. I did a bit of gardening.
It was an impressive beard that you grew.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. But I'm back. I'm back now. And, you know, like everyone else, I was in shock and I took a bit of a vacation or holiday, as you and I would say. And now I've got back to it and I've realized, okay, Well, nobody really wants to come and see me now. Who needs to worry about their next vacation right now? They worry about putting food on the table, not about what credit card points they've got to fly to, Bali this summer. So what could I do? I looked at my own process, right? It's a bit weird for me doing it on myself because I'm used to doing it on other people. But I looked at my own business and looked at my workflow and said, what's going wrong here? What can I make more efficient? And what I realized was I'm badgering people to come see me for a consultation. Why? They're not going to. It makes no sense. They've either lost their job or they're struggling. The last thing they're worried about is what credit card they're spending on. They're worried about where their mask is so they can go and buy something to eat for dinner. So what I did was I've shrunk down the first two sections. I still do it, but the concept of get to learn how to fly for free has been diminished somewhat because no one's flying. Now, the smart people will still come and see me because they're going to need to travel eventually. And by the way, when flying does come back, it's going to be at least twice the cost of what it was. All those empty seats on the plane that they're talking about, who do you think is going to pay for those?
I've just booked a flight home from my mother-in-law. We got a refund of $300 from Air New Zealand because they've cancelled the flights from LA to the UK, completely cancelled them.
Yeah.
British Airways, pretty much the only people flying, $1,025. Why?
Yeah.
Because they have to, it's a certain amount of money to fly that plane. They haven't got a certain amount of seats. So they have to charge a load of money for it.
Absolutely. So let me just give a little bit of an update for those people who are interested about traveling. Approximately 86%, 87% as of today, of all the flights that were flying around the world are no longer. They've cancelled those routes or routes. They don't exist. So all the airlines have gone back to what they do best, which is, by the way, what all of you should be doing anyway, is do what you do best now. Stop trying to reach beyond what you can do. So every airline has hubs. They have certain airports that they kind of own, where they have the bulk of their staff, the bulk of their planes, the bulk of their resources. So they've all gone back to basics. So that different airlines have different hubs around America, for example. So what you'll find is American Airlines are only really flying out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and New York. So if you want to fly on American Airlines from LA, forget about it. You will have to go via Dallas or New York to get where you're going, more or less. Okay. Yeah. Then you've got ones like United. For United, it's always going to be San Francisco and it's always going to be Newark in New Jersey. Right. So all these different airlines have their different hubs. So as they're cutting down all these planes and all these routes, if you bought a flight and they cancel it, they're still going to offer you another service to get you where you're going, but it will include an extra stop via one of those hubs.
Well, Air New Zealand unfortunately didn't, because whereas some of these other planes have multiple stops, Air New Zealand had one route.
Correct.
And they were getting rid of it at the end of the year anyway.
I was about to say,
they were like, we might as well just cancel it now. So when we were like, can you just sort out another flight? They're like,
no, we can't. Yeah. And then we've already started to lose some airlines. We've already lost Air Italy. Air Italy's already shut down. And I would imagine, I'd be amazed if American Airlines makes it through this. Their balance sheet is sketchy. I mean, all of the airlines are screwed, but especially American Airlines and Southwest are really, really...
Oh, really? Southwest as well?
Very wobbly. So just backtracking a little bit. So what's going to happen is when flying starts becoming popular again, there will be spaced out things on planes. And if people want to see there's some really cool renderings of what planes are going to look like next year. You can see it on my Instagram. I posted a few of them. But essentially, there's going to be no middle row. And if there is a middle row, you won't be able to sit in it. Those bums on seats is how those airlines stay alive. So without those, the only way they can do this is by putting the prices up. We will literally be paying for that empty seat next to us and sharing it with the person on the other side. So the concept of using points and not paying to fly is actually going to be more relevant than ever. I predict in the next 18 months that I'm going to have to get staff because I'll be too busy to do all the work that I'm going to have to do. Because anyone who wants to fly won't be able to afford to. You would have done 18 months of not earning any money, and the price has now doubled. So it's the equivalent of right now it being 4 times the price of what it is now.
Yeah.
That business isn't coming to me now, it's coming to me in 18 months. And I'm very much looking forward to that. But in the meanwhile, what I've done is I've shrunk the points coming in and the points going out section of what I do and massively expanded the home efficiency and optimization. What people need right now is they need more money in their pocket and they need to not waste money. And I know how to do that. I'm an efficiency expert. So I do a whole...
some quick tips.
Yeah, so a couple of quick tips. The main place that you'll be able to manipulate your outgoings every month is going to be food, right? All the other things, your rent, your mortgage, your car payment, stuff like that. Individually, I can speak to people and give them advice on what to do and how to move it. But the major place that there's like a sponge where it's like a chewing gum that you can pull apart and it snaps back together is food. And when I say food, I mean anything edible. That means everything from going out to restaurants, if they're open, or getting them delivered. Your weekly shop, and should it even be a weekly shop, right? Most people, if it tends to be single people, tend to go to the supermarket and do small shops once or twice a week, sometimes 3 times. And families tend to try and do this magical American 2.4 thing of the weekly shop that happens on a Sunday afternoon. It doesn't exist anymore, because what's happening at the moment is you're going to the supermarket and realizing there's a 2-hour line because of COVID, and then coming back the next day. Also, buying stuff for a whole week makes no sense. If you're buying fresh fruit and vegetables for your kids, they'll be off by the end of the week anyway. So understanding how to make use of food is the major one. Right now, some of the credit card companies are offering special COVID changes to their programs just for this. So for example, we were talking about this just before we went live. This week, I get $300 free in a supermarket on one of my credit cards. Now, that was a benefit of a credit card that would have been $300 travel credit for me, right?
Yeah.
And they've updated the rules for COVID to help people, just like I'm helping you and you're helping me, and we're all trying to help each other, right? They've changed that or made it available, not just for travel, but it also works in supermarkets now. So I'm not paying for food for the next 2 weeks because I've read that small print. And I know hundreds of friends that have that credit card that don't even know that they can do that because they don't sign up for all the newsletters.
There's going to be people straight away are going to say, how do I do that? So this is a great point for me to ask you.
Sure.
How do people get in contact with you? What's your website? Let's talk about that now as well, so that people can get hold of you to find out about this information.
Absolutely. So my website is thepointspartner.com. You can find me on Instagram at thepointspartner. And the first thing that people always say when they hear about what I do that don't already know about it is they say, oh, I have credit cards. Is this a good credit card? They hold up, is this a good credit card? And that's the wrong question, right? Every credit card is great. It wouldn't exist unless it was great. Nobody would get it and use it. The real question is this credit card great for me? Because what most people don't realize is they think that you are supposed to choose a credit card. Wrong. A credit card has to be suited to you, okay? So your life is very different to my life. We're both incredibly good-looking British gentlemen here in Los Angeles. But what you spend every month is very different to what I spend, and what you need is different to what I need.
Yeah.
And if you you've got more kids than I do, so you're spending more on food every week. So you need a credit card that gets you bonus points just for buying food in the supermarket. I am a relatively single guy, and I might be in non-COVID times going out on a date. So I need something that's good for restaurants, right?
Yeah.
So and you might lease a car. I own a car. You might rent a house. I own a house. Things change from person to person. So that's what I do is I break down their spend and put it into what is called credit card categories. So when you swipe a credit card in a store, the credit card company has to file it under something. So it will either be supermarket, restaurant, gas, marketing, shipping, travel. It'll be one of these, they'll put it under like one of 20 different pigeonholes. And for each one, they're called credit card categories. And for each credit card category, that's a potential place that the credit card might offer a bonus. So they'll say 2 times points on shipping this month. But if you don't know that, you'll use the wrong card when you go to FedEx, and you'll only get 1 point. If your business is sending
One thing that is annoying is I've done a little bit of what you mentioned. I've tried to get points and educate myself a little bit. I've signed up to, I'm going to be booking a flight with Delta. So I'm like, I might as well sign up to their card. And then if I spend a certain amount of money, I'll get 60,000. But he's telling me not, right? So I've got these 60,000 points or whatever for this and that. And he'll probably be able to advise me a lot better. But
let me stop you there. You there. You do what everyone does until they meet me, which is you see the bright lights of the sign up bonuses.
Yeah.
You see the advert when you're walking through the airport or in the back of the magazine on the airline, and it says 60,000 points if you sign up today. It's free for the first year, or 100,000 points. That is the number one sales technique of the credit card companies. They get more of you that way than they do anything else. But unfortunately, it's not very useful to you. You getting a free flight this year with that 60,000 points is useful this year, but then you're left with a credit card that's got an annual fee that when you need to get rid of it,
You can cancel it, can't you?
You can cancel them, but when you cancel a credit card, it knocks your credit score, right?
Oh.
So, yeah.
Because I was thinking at the end of the year I was going to cancel my credit card.
You don't want to do that. It's the last thing you want to do. That's how they get you, right? So either you get screwed either way. Either you're left with paying for a card that you don't want, or your credit score is going to start dropping. And that's the sort of stuff that I explain to my clients. Is a lot of people come to me, they've got a lot of people come with a bunch of credit cards, and they're like, I've got all these, I've got this one for that one, and I work it out. I'm saying you're spending $2,000 a year on annual fees. And then you're getting excited when you get a free flight for $500. Doesn't make sense. Just you have to do the math, and that's what I do. Right? It's not easy, as you found yourself. It's a labyrinth of information, and unless you understand all the transfer partners and how it works, the sign-up bonuses are irrelevant. I don't even look for sign-up bonuses. It's about your actual spend is where it's at. The average person in America gets back 0.92% of what they spend on their credit card. That means for every dollar that you spend, you get less than 1 cent back in benefits.
Yeah.
My clients, after seeing me, average between 2.5 and 6%. So if you look at how much you spend every month, I don't know what that is, but it's got to be easily significant, right?
Not only do I have a business credit card, and then I have a personal credit card, and we, as you mentioned it before, probably the biggest thing is food. Spend an astronomical amount on food.
So let me put it in relative terms for you. I'm going to tell you and all of your followers in one sentence what I do with food, and I'm hoping it will be jaw-dropping for you. Before I go to a supermarket, I do an inventory of my cupboards and fridge to see what was used and what wasn't used, and of what was used, I want again. And then things that weren't used, I make sure they're not on the list, so I don't buy them again for them not to be eaten again. Then every supermarket in America has 3 major categories: fruit and vegetable, dairy, and meat. And every supermarket in the whole of America picks one of those 3 categories that they lose money on. They do it at less than cost to drive customers in. You know, when you open the front door and you see like Ralph's is doing a special on meat, you're like, oh, that's cheap. Then you go to Ralph's, you get the cheap meat, but while you're there, you buy everything else. But their fruit and vegetables are through the roof. So you're losing money.
My wife shops in different places for different things.
You must go to 3 supermarkets at least every week to get the best deal on everything.
But the problem is a lot of people don't want to do that.
Great, then don't. Then you'll be sitting in coach and I'll be up at first class. It's as simple as that, right? If you want to waste your money, knock yourself out. Listen, I wouldn't be if everyone was as efficient as I was, I wouldn't be an efficiency expert and I'd be out of a job. Yeah. So I'm very thankful for everyone that could care less and goes to Whole Foods and buys it really expensive. Knock yourself out. That's not for me. I like to make money when I go to a supermarket. So I do my inventory. When I get to the supermarket, depending on the supermarket, I will use different either coupons or loyalty schemes. And then I will use a specific credit card that gets me at least 4 or 5 times points for that supermarket at that time. So I'll be getting 4 or 5% back on a shop that is already the most efficient it can be. And then even after I've checked out, I will then upload the receipt into another app, which gets me even more points. And then you have to link them all. There's a whole labyrinth of this. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, that sounds like so much work and a headache. And how can you even be bothered to do all that?
Yeah.
I don't expect anyone to be bothered to do that. I do all that. That's what I do for a living, is that I look at your stuff and I tell you what to do. And I create an easy system so that when you go, you can just go, swipe and get out. But you've got to set these things up, right? So it's I tell my clients, if they sit here with me for 2 hours, you've got another 2 or 3 hours homework to do when you get home today. You've paid me to sit here today. I'm like a financial personal trainer, right? You don't need a personal trainer. You want to work out, get your fat ass outside and go work out. But you pay someone else to shout at you to do it. I'm exactly the same. I'm no genius. I just have put in the effort in the financial space. So people pay me. If you're going to pay me, go home, do the homework, and then you're set up for life. And then all I get 3 months later is people sending me pictures of them on 6-foot beds on planes saying, thank you so much. I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. For the last 12 years, I haven't paid to get on a plane apart from taxes. And as you well know, I travel a lot and I travel first class. I am not stinking rich. For those of you who think, oh, but he's rich. I'm not. Okay. I'm a completely normal human.
You just know how to,
I'm
just
efficient.
know the system, and that's what you're looking to help there. So the funny thing is I normally go through and ask a million questions, but as we know, you're a great talker, Owen. So you've answered.
You can go have lunch. I'll just talk.
Exactly. Now, you already kind of said when the whole thing first happened, you like a lot of people, we were like, oh no, what do we do? And then you were like, right, now I'm going to work out how to develop my business. And you've answered that question, which is great. But financially, how did it impact you? When this first happened, you obviously said you were meeting clients.
Yeah.
Did it financially impact you?
Yeah. So I was averaging seeing 1 to 2 clients a day, which, bearing in mind my sessions are as intense as this, is a lot. I was slammed essentially, which was great. The business was going great. Pretty much from March 19th, when the lockdown started, overnight everyone cancelled. Everything that I had planned got cancelled. Every single one of them. I just got email after email saying, sorry, obviously lockdown, masks, wash your hands, ventilators. I'm just throwing out buzzwords to do with COVID-19 now. Clorox. Okay. So yeah, everyone cancelled everything shut down. And I just kind of, as we all did, just hid under a rug. So I went from hero to zero pretty much overnight. And I thought, you know what I could do with a break. So I took a month off, grew a beard and hung out in the garden. And then I looked at what is it that would bring people back again? Well, I've got to bring value. Nobody wants to pay me if they're not going to get something from it. They can't travel right now. And most people aren't smart enough to have the foresight to worry about it now for a year from now. Yeah. So I changed what I do. I no longer go to people's houses. They no longer come here. I now do everything on Zoom. Now, I had done some Zoom calls, some Zoom clients before COVID hit. But if I'm honest, I didn't really think about it that much. I didn't need to. Now I'm all set up for doing Zoom, right? You get a nice picture of my daughter.
The next thing leading on from that is your business going to be run on Zoom from now on? Is that
great question? So a lot of people, So I've got to be honest with you. I still prefer to do it in person. There's a certain connectivity or intensity, almost like atmosphere in a restaurant, right?
But you can't. Your business before, if you only did it in person, was limited to people within a certain distance from you. By doing it on Zoom, you can help people throughout the world, well, especially through the US.
I absolutely can reach people that are physically further away, yes. Yeah. But I will never do, a part of my business model is that I'll never do mass talking. So I'll never do 10 people at once because it's so bespoke what I do. It's only useful to you, right? So it would be doing a disservice to those people if I tried to tell them all the same thing. It wouldn't be right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would love to do more on Zoom because I don't have to go anywhere. I was losing an hour and a half a day driving around West Hollywood, which now I can sit here. For all you know, I'm not wearing pants right now.
I was hoping you weren't.
After this is done, we'll do a separate call. So yeah, no, I'd love to do more Zoom stuff. But the major difference pre and post COVID or during or this new world, old world, whatever you want to call it, is that now the home efficiency, the money savings part of what I do is probably represents a third, if not half, of my entire session. Yeah. Because that's what people need right now. I need people to leave a Zoom call with, I've just paid X amount and he saved me 10 times that. And unless I can say that, I'm not going to get more clients. I did my first one under the new world order of 2 weeks ago. And within 24 hours, I had 6 of her friends that did it also, and so on and so forth. Now I'm back to business again. And people are loving it. And I'm getting thank you messages that they can afford to get whatever they need now during this tough time, which is awesome.
And how do you get most of your business? Is it through referrals? Do you do any online advertising? How do you get your business, just by interest?
So originally, I tried a bit of everything. I kind of looked at the ROI, the return on investment for all the PR and marketing opportunities that are available today. Everything from the local newspaper through to Instagram ads, Facebook ads. I've been on TV. I did a bunch of TV stuff. I was on.
Yeah, I've seen a few things. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great fun. They're good fun to do. But honestly, I mean, I did get some work from those, but 95% is word of mouth. I'm not the sort of service that someone's looking for, because ironically, the people that need me the most don't even know they need me. So it's really word of mouth. It's when someone goes for dinner with their friends and they put down a cool credit card that no one's ever seen before. They go, "What's that?" "Oh, last week I saw this guy called the Points Partner. Oh my God, he saved me 25 grand in flying this year. You have no idea. I only paid this guy this much." And and then the next, I get a text message, "Hey, David, meet Susan." And then I send them my one sheet of, the preparation required. So it's all word of mouth. Different businesses have different marketing opportunities and different results from them, right? So if you're selling masks, right, telling your friends is not going to sell you enough masks to keep you alive. But putting it on Instagram, you might get a few people that will buy it because it's a cool pattern or something. If I go on Instagram, it's too quick. People are swiping. To try and explain what I do requires half an hour with you to explain what it is that I do, right? So half a second on Instagram is of no value or use to me. So it's really word of mouth, which is why it's even more important that the service that I'm providing is absolutely phenomenal. I try and work on a 10 times model, which is people should get benefit of 10 times what they pay for me. Essentially, for every dollar they give me, they should get 10 back in return in cool opportunities. And for the most part, I overachieve on that, which is awesome because more people keep coming.
Great. So we talked about your website. How is the best they can look at your website, but what's your social media handles, or are they best emailing you? Like, how are they actually best get in contact?
Go on my website, fill out a form, DM me, Facebook me. I'm at The Points Partner on everywhere. ThePointsPartner.com, at The Points Partner on Facebook, at The Points Partner on Instagram. Hit me up. I am an efficiency expert, so with one button, no matter how you contact me, you'll get an entire page of information that tells you what I do, how I do it, what you pay, how you prepare for it, what to expect when we have a Zoom call, everything. So even down to, people always find this impressive, I don't know why. I've set up in my phone key letters that represent phrases or documents. So if you text me or DM me, I've saved IG as my template for that. So I just put IG and it sends you an entire realm of information, including click this button, sign up here, do this there. So it takes me 2 seconds to reply to people, bang, bang, and you get all the information you need. And that will give you enough information that you can then either have a phone call with me or even just go off and do the prep work, which is mainly gathering your statements from the previous month and possibly finding out what your credit score is if it's concerning. And that's it. You send me your stuff and I come back to you a few days later and say, "I've been through your stuff. Here's what I found." I might say, "What you're doing is perfect and you don't need to come see me." It never happens because most people don't know what they're doing. I'll give you a couple of examples where people think that they know what they're talking about and they don't. There's what I call the pyramid of points. All right. So imagine there's a pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is American Express and Chase. They're the ones that give out loads of points, right? All their credit cards, and there's hundreds of them.
I've got an American Express. Yeah.
So here's a great example. Let's pretend you had a Chase, right? But you also got the Delta card. So sorry, let me finish my pyramid. So you've got American Express and Chase at the top, and in the middle you've got all the other credit card companies, and at the bottom of the pyramid you've got all of the airlines and their air mile accounts, their frequent flyer accounts, right? Because when you spend on a credit card, you get it back in one of three ways. You either get credit card points, you get cash back, or you get airline miles. Okay, so forget cash back, right? Because we're talking about points. Although I understand cash back, and it's not relevant to. It's meant for people that have on very, very low income, that don't have the time nor the want or need to travel. Right, so cashback is really essentially for poor people. Everyone else should be on points for one reason or another.
Well, that's an interesting point straight away there, because I didn't know whether to get like a cash point one or stick with points. That's
exactly. So the most efficient way to use your credit card points is to actually transfer them out of those credit card companies. They have transfer partners, and almost exclusively the best way to do that is to move them to an airline and buy a sale price mileage ticket. All right. It's getting a bit technical and I'll try not to lose you. But different credit card companies transfer to different places. If you have a Chase credit card and you have a Delta credit card, You can't move your Chase points to Delta. They're not a
Does the
partner.
American Express have a relationship with Delta?
Correct, right. But here's a fun fact for you, as you've got a Delta credit card. Delta is the worst one to have. It's the worst American Express transfer partner. It's the only one that when you transfer those points to Delta, they charge you for doing it. Plus, the award chart with Delta is the worst of all of them. If you want to fly first class to London on Delta, it will cost you 360,000 points each way. Whereas if you did it on Air France, it will cost you 50,000 points each way. So these are the sort of things that we get down to. One last example that I'll give you of kind of the potential for benefit. If you want to buy a flight to London in first class, it's going to cost you about $7,000 right now. If you were to do that as a pay with points, right? So you use your American Express points to pay that, it would be 100 times the amount in points. So it would be 700,000 points. Okay. So you got the pay ticket is $7,000. The pay with points with your credit card company will be 700,000 points. And in the best case scenario, on a mileage ticket, it would cost you 104,000 points. So, or sorry, 104,000 miles if you transferred them to the right airline at the right time. So the benefit is approximately 7 times the amount, even once you've got these points. So these magical points that most people don't care about, that you and I do, even once they've got those, and most people don't even have them, they're getting cash back or nothing at all, right? But once they've got those, the opportunity can be up to 7 times greater if they know what they're doing at the right time. So people always say to me, you must spend millions on your credit card every year to do all the amount of flying you're doing. When in actual reality, I don't. I spend a couple of grand a month on my credit card. I just know where to spend it at the right time to get the most amount of points. And then once I've got those points, I know exactly the right time and where to send them to and how to purchase that ticket using mileage.
Great. There's one last thing I was going to just pick your brain on just as we're here, because I'm supposed to fly to Hawaii in middle of July. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. It may get, cancelled, or we may be able to postpone it because of the.
Have you already booked something?
We've already got it booked. We actually booked using points with Delta.
Okay.
So we used the air miles, stroke points that we got. We got, they have this thing where you can. With American Express, you can use your points and you get a bonus if you buy a Delta. But I thought I got us an all right deal, and we're basically getting a vacation for free using points.
I'm sure. Relative to paying for it, you did great.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is we're like, if quarantine continues in Hawaii for July, we're like, should we just move the move it? I think financially that's the best thing for us to do, not cancel it, because if we then go to try and pay for it again, the flight price is going to be big. Is that right?
No. So let me explain to you. First thing you need to know is most people think when you're on a mileage ticket or a ticket you haven't paid for that you're a subclass, the people who've paid are of more importance. It's actually the complete opposite. So mileage programs are designed for a loyalty for the people that pay lots of money to fly with them regularly, business people. Yeah. And that's a benefit for them. That's how their systems are set up. So they really look after people that are on mileage tickets. They don't know that you don't fly with them that often, that you got the credit card, or that you've transferred it from American Express. They have no idea, or their system doesn't know. So the first thing you should know, on a mileage ticket, is the best case scenario. You can cancel that up to 24 hours before you fly for free. They'll put the points back in your account. You'll get the taxes back on your credit card, and you can peace out on that whole deal really quickly.
But we want to go to Hawaii, so I'm thinking,
you've booked flights.
Book the flights, but they're more than likely going to say to us, we have the option of cancelling, because if you go to Hawaii, you're only going to be able to sit in your hotel room.
Right now, I wouldn't do anything. You've got up until 24 hours before your flight to make a decision, and it won't make any difference doing it now versus then. If you want to change dates, it won't be the same price, so it's irrelevant. It's the same as cancelling it and starting again. So I would just leave it to the very last minute, till 2 days before you fly, and make a decision if it's going to be fun to go or not. But you're on a mileage ticket, which is the best case scenario, which means you can cancel it for free anyway. And on top of that, right now, almost all the airlines are letting even paid tickets cancel for free. because they need people to be confident enough to give them money to begin with right now. So you're in good shape. There's nothing to do. 2 days before you go, make a decision.
Okay, cool. I really appreciate that. Owen, I'm definitely going to chat to you again. I'm even brainstorming in the back of my head how you could potentially help my real estate business and stuff going forward, because with all of the knowledge that you've got, we could maybe look at coming up with like a, package for you for people to help them in regards to purchasing the house and saving to buy a house.
So I was going to say is a lot of the people that I get are referrals from people that are either struggling with their credit, or when they purchase the biggest time in your life where you spend money is when you purchase a house. And it's not the cost of the house, it's the moving costs, furniture costs, and being able to buy all that stuff efficiently, knowing when to buy it, how to buy it, what credit card to put it on to get the most amount of points. That's where I come in. So
that's where I'm thinking we could come up with something. I probably was thinking about doing it off air, but we'll just quickly mention it now. Yeah, we'll have a chat about that, because I think you could really help with people purchasing a house. A lot of my clients, and yeah, as you say, often when you buy a house, you spend a large amount of money on furniture. You've got the moving costs, you've got this and that. Why not put it and spend it on the right credit card to make sure that you've getting the right points?
You probably know this.
Even look at doing this once a month or something like that.
Absolutely. Let me ask, do you know what the average amount of money that people spend when they move into a house is?
I don't.
Nor do I, but I'd like to guess. It's probably about 35 grand is my guess.
It's going to be a lot. They're going to be, redoing a kitchen. They're going to be buying furniture. It's going to spend a lot of money. Yeah.
The way I look at it is approximately 3 or 4% of 35 grand. That's the way I look at it, is what it's worth if you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at thousands of dollars worth of benefit if you know what you're doing before you do it. But you've got to know it.
Yeah. Great. Well, let's definitely talk about that more. Thank you so much for coming on. I knew this one would overrun. You said to me, I said it would take about 20 minutes, but I had a little feeling with you it would take longer. Great time to finish it as well, because my boy's screaming whilst trying to have a wee. So
much love. If you need me, you know where I am.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. Ta-ta.
Have a good one, mate.